All right. Good morning, Coach Kin. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Coach. You've seen Cavalier played here many times, right? And you've stated that this pitch here is a smaller dimension compared to the National Stadium. Do you feel this will impact the style of play you want for Jamaica teams?
I don't think so. You're right. I always come to a field and always stride out how wide it is, and if it's 16 strides to the 18-yard box from the sideline, then that's wide enough, and it's 16 yards.
All right,
Coach.
Coach.
I do meters, I do yards. All my steps. So yes, it was 16 in St. Vincent, and it's 16 here, so it's wide enough. Yeah, we want to use the width, we want to use the speed, and yeah, I've got to say the groundsman we came 2 weeks ago to Sabina, and it's in great condition. So well done to the groundsman, the people who worked on the field, because it looks very good.
All right, Coach. Just a follow-up as well. Yesterday you met the legendary Rene Samois, big personality here in Jamaican football history. Can you share with us, is that the first time you met him, and can you share a little bit on what you guys discussed and how was it like to meet him?
It's always nice to meet another coach. Another coach with such enthusiasm. I think, 74? Unbelievable energy, enthusiasm, smile. You can tell why the players liked him, why he was successful. He looks like a player's coach. Yeah, I sat with him for a long time. I could have sat with him all night. Can't wait to get his book, read his adventures. But I've got to say, in probably the couple of hours I had with him, he told me all his adventures anyway. But what a great story, and very successful for Jamaica. We're trying to emulate that, and I think that's what he stressed when he spoke, not just to myself and the staff, but also to the team. That got to do Jamaica proud.
Coach, 1-1 draw away. What's the mentality going into this game for tomorrow?
We have to win. That's the mentality. When we look at the game and we saw the stats, I think 75% possession. I was talking to Rene last night. We were talking about the style of football. What did he do in '98? And he talked about keeping the ball and possession of the ball, and one of their goals was to achieve 600 passes in a game. That was one of his targets. And I said, we were close the other day, we had 585. So, the principles are the same. So, in terms of possession, they defended deep, but we had lots of possession. We had 16 attempts at goal, and we had 7 on target. And when, on the night, it was very frustrating. When you look at the game overall and the chances we created, we should score more than 1 goal, be it a penalty. We had lots of very, very good chances. And as I said to the players, 75%, 16 attempts on goal, 7 on target. Normally that wins you a game, and we have to replicate that again. The only thing that I think we've talked about is the urgency and the tempo needs to be higher, because we need to attack quicker. So the tempo just needs to be high. So when we went to the goal down, all of a sudden the urgency went up, and the tempo increased. We need to keep that tempo high against this opponent. Keep continuing that. But I got to say, they didn't surprise me. I think they surprised the team by the way that they played and the speed in which they could transition. And I said, and I warned, they're a good team. They're a good team. They beat El Salvador and should have beat them in the second game. So we knew that the opponents, if they're big opponents, they're up for the game. But it's up to us to do the job. And the theme is finish the job. Finish the job. We got a 1-1 draw. We got a penalty at the end. We deserved more, but we didn't get more. That's football. Make sure tomorrow we get what we deserve.
Coach, I'm Shawan Nicholson, very, very tall, physical striker. Do you think we can find a way to utilize his characteristics as a striker more better? Because quite so often we see the wingers going down the byline, not going down the byline, cut back and pass in the central area, or they cut into the midfield area. You think we can go a bit more direct and hit Shawan Nicholson with those crosses? We tend to not do much of that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you're spot on in terms of Shamar. I'm not saying he's an enigma, but we have to get the best from him. We know with Mikel how we play with Mikel. We're still working out how to play with Shamar and use him effectively. But I got to say, 2 or 3 chances we created. He was in the box and he was there. And you're absolutely right. We talked about improving our final third play, so getting more crosses into the box, and Shamar being the person that should be in the middle of the box is a number 9. So we thought, what's his job? Is to score goals and to hold up play. We did that a few times, played long into him. Probably didn't do that enough to go over the press and try to go through it. And sometimes we need to go over and use Shamar's physique. So you're absolutely spot on. You know, we know how to play with Mikel. We have to learn also to play through the middle with Shamar, because in the wide areas we're very, very strong, very quick, very effective. In the final third we need to be more effective. Saying that, 16 attempts on goal and 7 on target shows that we created more and showed more of our principles than we have done in a lot of other games.
My question is to King. King, you played in front of a packed national stadium against Inter Miami. What have you taken out of that game to bring to the national setup as you are now prepared to face the second leg of the CONCACAF Gold Cup prelims?
Well, basically the same, the intensity is more for the national team, focus it has to be more. So it's really just the tempo of the game, match. That's really take us up to that.
Okay, good morning, Coach. Are there any updates or changes to the roster for tomorrow's game?
We have we bring Damien Lowe into the squad, so that's an extra player. We brought him in late last night. We have 1 or 2 little issues within the squad that we need to look at. So we'll do that today and pick the squad and pick the team tomorrow.
Coach, Isaac Aiden deployed in more of a box-to-box role in the last game. Is that a new role that you're trying to find for him, or is it solely 6?
No, good observation and good point, because talked to Isaac and we knew on transition they were very quick, and we know that the number 10 was very effective normally for them. So we wanted to nullify that with Sully, and allowed Isaac to be more of an 8, box to box, because he can do that role. He can get forward. An example was the US, our first goal, where he made a corner run, pulled back, the Murray Gray scored. So we know he can be a 6, we know he can be an 8, and we had the 6, the defensive one, taking care of the transitions, like our West defence, and allowed Isaac to be a little more box to box with Bobby Reid on 10. During the game we changed that a little, and especially the last 20 minutes. I think with Isaac on 6, and Bobby and Dimmy on 10, Cephas. What I said right at the beginning. It's not really. It is about the starters, but a lot of emphasis we put on the finishers, which are the people coming on. And Cephas came on, did a great job for us. Warner Brown was different to Shamar, and Kahib for the last few minutes showed that we have got speed there and we can change a game and we can affect a game. So the game is not about, it is about how we start. The first 10 minutes we emphasise, but it's also the last 10 minutes. And the last 3 games, Trinidad, we played twice. And St. Vincent, we scored in the last, after 84 minutes. So the team is making an impact from the bench, and winning games or affecting games.
As I said, the last couple of games are finished. Goals are scored after 88 minutes of the game. Does that show that the team is actually finishing strong in games?
Yeah, absolutely. It shows the strength of the squad and the depth of the squad. And I know that it's really a good exercise. We had the camp with the local players, and we had the 2 games. It really gave me an insight, and many of them have an opportunity in this camp, in training, maybe not playing, but certainly in training, to have a look, to widen. So we've had 6-7 games. We've had a lot of players to look at, and now, the goal is World Cup qualification in 26. Part of that is to qualify for the Gold Cup, and part of that is to build a squad, and a consistent squad to go forward. So we are laser focused in our recruitment, especially for the summer. So that's really, really important. And we have a squad now that we need to finish the job, do the job, and get us in the Gold Cup for the summer.
In the last game, Amarbel, they consistently force Amarbel. They overload on Amarbel's side and consistently force him to go inside on his weaker foot, and also try to transition from that. Is that something that you have identified, or also something you're working on, where the transition is also concerned?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think normally when we looked at them, their transitions were coming down the left with the boy Anderson, and he had one great move. The only time that we relaxed a little bit on that side, but I thought Dexter and Richard did really well on that right-hand side, because that looked the most dangerous when we viewed them. But you're right, they're just as effective on the other side. So, that's the big danger. We said to the team, the players, the defenders, especially best defence is key to keep possession, keep the ball, and also to counter press and make sure rest defence so they don't transition. So you're absolutely right. As I said, not an easy opponent. It's prepared well for that game.
Richard, just a couple of questions. Coach, I remember the first couple of press conferences where I asked about the handbrake being up, as far as the players being unable to express themselves because they're just getting to know them. Do you trust your players a little bit more now?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a good question. And the first thing we say to the players, you're here because of how you play in the clubs. So player here, how you play in the clubs. So we ask no different. And yeah, I think what it is we've started. I wouldn't say it's a new style. It's my way of playing, and they have to get used to that. And when they go away, they come back. We have 1 or 2 days in which to recreate certain patterns that we've had in terms of build-up, in terms of pressing, and sometimes that takes a while to synergize. And we've yet to do that. It's sometimes what I call a little clunky. Sometimes we have it so we can show the team, that's it. That's great play. Tempo, width, speed, crosses, chances. But we need that more consistently over the 95 minutes.
And Richard, how difficult was that first game, and what did you learn as far as gaining experience from that game in Arnsville?
I wouldn't say it's difficult, it's just, we just have to focus more from the first hit to the last. That really, so it wasn't really a hard game, but we could have won the game, we should have won, but unfortunately we didn't.
Richard, what is the players' mindset for the past 2 days been like? Like, what's the tempo? Can you give us like a little behind the scene of like the energy that you guys plan to come out with?
It's the same, that vibe, that energy. The guys want to win the game. We should win the game. It's a must win game. So the energy and the vibe is there to win the game.
And Sonny?
Sonny Felix for JFF Live. Just wanted to ask, thus far you have 25 caps for Jamaica. How much do you love playing for Jamaica?
Love playing for my country. I want to make it 50.
Further questions?
All right, coach, just the final question. Lowe is now back in the team. Can you state what kind of impact you expect from him to add to this team, especially for the match in leg 2?
Yeah, he brings experience. He was on the first game because of personal reasons. We understand that. But he's experienced. He's a character. He's a leader. Very vocal. And yeah, he slips in. You know, whether he starts or not, we'll see tomorrow.
All right, coach.
And finally, in regards to some friendlies that would have been announced in May, any more details in regards to those matches?
Yeah, yeah, we were okay with that. It's all finalised. Yeah, I mean, it's yet to be finalised, but we hope to have 2 friendlies in the UK, in London, somewhere. I think that's a great experience and a great, would be a great camp for the build up to the World Cup qualifiers and hopefully the Gold Cup as well.
Members of the media, thank you very much for being here this morning. Much appreciated. We kindly ask you to wait here until training starts.